At the apartment, Kazuya tried to reach through Mizuhara's door, but hear no response, contemplating the situation as well though. He pestered her with a text once more, but still no response, just read status, before finally giving up and holed up for 3 months. By this time, our wingwoman Yamura-san is finally back. Seems like she had a bigger vacation than our MC. She was shocked to see Kazuya's pathetic state in his room and attempted to find out if Mizuhara really hates him. Luckily, she stumbled upon her in the corridor. Mizuhara explains that ultimately she is confused, but she cannot even begin to acknowledge it because of Ruka-chan. This alone cheered up Kazuya after hearing it because his confession went through. And thus the rental thing begins again. After having lunch spending 28,000 yen, Kazuya struggles to find a moment to confirm what happened then. Finally, Mizuhara gave him a chocolate for the recent Valentine's. Quickly, he follows it with his question. Mizuhara responds that maybe he was in love, not with her, but with Chizuru Mizuhara, her rental name. This isn't a game over though, she wants to find it too, so please wait a little longer, she asks. Of course, this made Kazuya back on his state, the usual state, and this is what would be referred to as her research. The next day, Mizuhara went on to his room with him. She just scans it for a while and watches some YouTube videos with him. By the way, they watched Yomori-san's channel about bra. And then at the corridor, Kazuya went on and made a vow to wait for her for 10 years or even 20 years. Now Ruka-chan commented how he seems to be back on his feet in the workplace. She's proud he finally got over with Mizuhara and claims it's the start of their real romance, oblivious that it's because of Mizuhara, and that this time they're even exchanging messages like a normal couple would for the research. Nagomi, on the other hand, is sulking not being able to see her Princess Mizuhara. Kuri and Kibei also seem cool with him now. Kazuya apologizes the most to Kibei. He accepts it if it's something more precious than friendship, that he needs to lie. Later, Mommy would see them at the campus, but just continued walking away. While Kazuya's in his room, Mizuhara shows up and asks him to come to his grandfather's house to clean it now that it houses no one. Kazuya was tasked to move out a bunch of rocks her grandpa used to collect after every delivery trip. And Mizuhara as well sees her grandfather in him. We also see here what the mother of Mizuhara looks like from a single picture she has of her. Right about when Kazuya is about to comfort her from nostalgia, the ground shakes where he protected her from a falling book. Thus, we get a picture like this in the end. An earthquake occurred. According to the authorities, it is not to stay in the apartment anymore as it's a pretty old building. For safety concerns, they were made to move out. No more neighbors for a while. Kazuya went back to his grandma Nagomi to stay for a while, but his room has already been used by an exchange Philippine student, so he needs to find a new place to stay soon. After calling out of the blue to suggest that he should move with Mizuhara, they invited her to a drinking party later that night and suggest to why not live in the same place to further the investigation, to which she agreed, halting the initial plan to sell the house, which, at least for only a month, after that they should find a place to stay on their own. By the way, she attempted to kiss him again outside the bar later as he's drunk asleep. The next morning, Kazuya wakes up in the very room they agreed to stay, but he can't help to throw up from last night's hangover. A bad impression to have as a wannabe reliable roommate, cause she also finds out her MC's dead broke because of her. Kazuya lets Ruka know he moved out. Yeah, that's it. I will have you know how their life is, like with the 3 of them as housemates. Each of them has a spare key of the house, has a curtain as a divider for girls living with a man, toothbrushing at the same time, and they even share water baths. Like that one time Kazuya fusses over using the same water after Mizuhara on chapter 259, which is lame to be honest. Also, this stray fat cat named Peter visits them occasionally. Okay, finally we get to see some spare screen time for the 4th girl named Pluto, Sumi. She was seen preparing for Mizuhara's birthday, which is set on April 19th, the same day as her play. Chapter 263, Mommy invited Kazuya for lunch over no particular reason again, before walking away. And after being prohibited by Mizuhara to buy her a birthday present, he goes to Yomori-san to at least celebrate it provided she's going to come home late. They watched the play on the 19th of April, and as they arrived at home they saw Sumi-chan waiting outside. Yomori-san nearly mistakes her for being mute, welcomes her to the house as a good roommate. But Sumi can't help but to be bugged by Kazuya living with Mizuhara. Sumi-chan is also there for another reason. She brought incense for the altar though, knowing Sumi she's a bit awkward being with other people, so luckily Mizuhara finally arrives and guides her instead. And you know, Sumi-chan's spotlight might be very limited, but when she does, she really illuminates everyone's hearts. Recall that she's also the reason why Kazuya realized to make a movie for Mizuhara in Season 3. Sumi pulls Mizuhara and asks why she's having a blank stare. She wanted her to know that no matter what, she'll always be there, so at least share the burden with her. Mizuhara also let her know that she has someone who has not given up on her when she was a mess, followed by a little, "Do you love this person?" from Sumi. Sumi comforts her once more that she's wonderful, even with her confusion at the times. No dirty hints of jealousy. After having a blast and Sumi-chan going home now, Yamori also handed out her birthday present to Mizuhara. This betrays Kazuya, of course, as he's prevented from buying one. But you know what? That's still no excuse, so we see him handing out a anything you want stamp to her right before midnight. In the next events, Mizuhara asks Kazuya to help move out again. This time not rocks, but her loads of dresses and clothes she wears on plays and rental dates, which amounts to a truck. This led them to messing up again, Kazuya on top that they can't move because the gossipy neighbors out there. And then they wait. Kazuya passed out with either the heat or too much physical contact. To let off some steam and shake the awkwardness, Mizuhara one morning initiated for the three of them to go shopping. This drags for about 4 chapters, with him fussing how holy Groly is to even sit with her at one point. Then I guess the succeeding chapters are supposed to be their bondings. Chapter 281 is a little skit about Mizuhara and a spider, which ends with her releasing it at the window. Chapter 284 to 286 is a recreation game for couples requested by Yamori for the two of them to play as a gift for her recent birthday. Ends up with a group photo for the three of them. All about this now, they have spent 2 weeks as neighbors, and as we can remember this as part of Mizuhara's investigation, Kazuya wants to be more like aggressive. Yumi-kun, a fellow actor of Mizuhara, suddenly shows up at the door. He reasoned he's just paying a visit and for the altar as well. Mizuhara never got the chance to show him to it, and he knows her address anyways. Yamori-san also met him, sizing up that indeed he would be a strong opponent for Kazuya, a fellow in the acting industry and rich and handsome on top of that, which was only confirmed when they tailed them outside to confirm what is he to her. A jealous Kazuya helplessly frets yet against the idea of invading. Umi-kun confesses. Umi-kun wasn't able to confirm this back from the movie-making arc if we can remember. He says he was a bit jealous at the living together thing and after what happened at the barbecue party too. In the end, Mizuhara wasn't able to give him a proper answer because he interrupts before she can say anything, saying the odds are against him right now, then left just like that. However, Kazuya would quickly recover from this cause. The next morning, Mizuhara asks him to go out with just the two of them, a genuine hangout or perhaps a date. I don't know. Now they did try to, but interruption just keeps showing. I wonder if their realm is partly the reason why Kazuya's like this. Kazuya received a call from his mom because it's the day where he's supposed to be at the center to watch kids. He'd do this once a month and had been doing it since grade school. Mizuhara asks to come with him to help out also. Then we're back to daily life of them as neighbors, watching Netflix, washing clothes, and one time a card-guessing game where they would reveal their ideal proposal and Mizuhara revealing hers initially as grandiose, before taking it back as any ordinary as long as it's from her loved one. Guys, I think the author really wants us to see how deep her research is for Kazuya, although it's just painfully long. At the campus, Mizuhara also invited Kibei for a lunch, only to get his response of what Kazuya is like. We're now in chapter 304, and she even tells him stuff like her period the next day, while Kazuya goes all out to see all her needs. Well, the next morning, Mizuhara informs him she's going on a rental job, not for our broke Kazuya, of course. It's Grandma Nagomi. She wants to feel the job of Mizuhara aside from wanting to see her too. It's a grandmother and granddaughter bonding. Meanwhile, Mommy-chan appeared yet again and saw them together. Chapter 310, she was seen clenching a pillow, wondering if they've really become a couple now. Chapter 310, Yamori-san insistingly requests for Mizuhara's help at a cosplay event. 311 and 312 about cosplay and Mizuhara even getting jealous of one cosplayer whom Kazuya helped. Trust me, there's nothing really major happening here. It's been more than 2 weeks now of 1 month of living rent-free with Mizuhara's home. So Kazuya upped his game by deciding to ask her out one morning. Mizuhara came home late from a stage meeting. Kazuya greeted her in the doorway, tired and seemed exhausted. Talk about a bad timing. She responded her days ahead are already packed, asked by a stagemate more work the next day, and I don't know why, but I'm screaming with pride seeing this about to give up Kazuya panel. But ultimately, after giving him a cute face, they agreed to have it on the 17th, showing Mizuhara's sincerity as well, since the day after is supposed to be their moving out. What we're talking about here is a real date. After 315 chapters, this would be both a first genuine date for both of them outside of rental job. No pretense or enactment, same for Mizuhara. Kazuya informs Yamori about this, calling it a huge step, and then also pry with Mizuhara about it, to which she calls an outing for a research. And we're back to Chapter 318, a skit about Kazuya seeing Mizuhara's mole on thigh. Chapter 320, another little game they played shooting a ball. 324, Mizuhara visiting Grandma Sayuri's grave. 325, a practice date with Yamori-san for eating at Chinese hot pot, which Mizuhara told she would like to eat on their date. Chapter 329 to 331, Kazuya buying clothes for the date, and Chapter 332, enacting the date at Joypoli's with Yamori-san, enacting points like what to say when dead air, when to compliment, and other ideal practices. Honestly, they're having such a good time that around Chapter 338, Yamori kind of finds Kazuya cute, especially when they got into the fortune-telling part of the place. She secretly selects love compatibility with him, while Kazuya is friendship, of course. Kazuya got 78% at friendship compatibility, while she got 90% in love compatibility. They also met Mommy-chan along the way with a date, mistaking them together. But eventually she left again without uttering an explanation and leaving her guy, to which she clarified to Kazuya as not her boyfriend. What is up with this woman? Kazuya and Yamori went for a coffee outside. In front of Yamori-san, I love you. He rehearses. It was a busy morning at the train station when Ruka-chan greeted Kazuya. It's their date for once in a while. Ruka sniffs him out. Did you change your fabric softener? They ought to go open a credit account for Kazuya that day, and Kazuya's starting to notice her womanly charms. She gives him a sweet kiss along the way, which just made it all the more reason to end their trial relationship. Suddenly, Kazuya dropped the key with goldfish keychain from Mizuhara's house, and Ruka happened to pick it up. He got his way out of this, of course, so she gave him a ribbon keychain as well in the end. Also, he saw her panty that day for some reason. Real date arc, latest arc. New haircut? Check. Bringing lollipop wrappers after Curry-san's advice? Check. And just as expected, it was raining heavily. Woohoo! Finally, it was the day of their date. They both meet by the gate and head on to walk into the train station. Busy hours of the metropolis, passenger capacity is loaded up, totally not something Kazuya expected. Right in the train, he shielded her out from the cramped load of passengers, wall slam, pressing against her chest at the narrow demands of the moment. It was also like this by their arrival at Joypoli's, a common dating place for couples, especially for rentals apparently. After waiting for a while because the area planned was still closed compared to when they rehearsed, Kazuya managed to still entertain Mizuhara, genuinely, when they went to an arcade even Mizuhara didn't know of before, even though it's already her 4th time, allowing her to relive her childhood. And this is where the legendary online confusion happened. Mizuhara acts childish here, far from rental dates of keeping faces. So no, she doesn't really have a child or a single mother. Guys, I recommend you check out Chapter 355 onwards as date moments because it's actually cute for a while. After a few hours, the restaurant they made reservations for is finally open. They sat on the same table they had practiced on, but not so as lucky as the training for approaching indecisiveness in picking from the menu went wrong because Mizuhara naturally leads the table from habit, leaving him no chance. Mizuhara offered a shared plate for the two of them. Then we got sharing the same glass of water skit and paying the bill skits. At the rides, it's also full of people falling in line too long. So we got a skit for waiting in line again. Eyes fixed to Mizuhara, even the baby making small talk. It's in this moments that Mizuhara would ask profound couple questions. How many kids he wants? When does he consider cheating? To which the author also reasoned what most would think of. They only consider it cheating if you love the person as well. So sex workers don't really cheat. After 2 hours, they only managed 2 rides, so they took a break at an aquarium with sea lions. The screen glass swaps sea lions' faces with customers, so the audience oftenly entertained. Mizuhara and Kazuya burst into laughter here, and so far this is the first time they laughed together with no cap. No act of formality and tactness, just pure bliss. Suddenly Mami-chan calls, but Kazuya just turns it down. Mizuhara asks him again, "How can you tell me that you love me? How much do you want to go out on dates?" She also would blab that someone is loved because someone is there to love them. Chapter 370, only people deserving of love are the ones who are capable to give them. By the way, at the attraction they are falling in line with, simulating of murder in a room, Mizuhara clings to Kazuya's shirt, scared. And then finally the main attraction, fortune-telling for couples. Mizuhara mentioned she got as high as 97% with a guy from a rental date before, so Kazuya don't really have to worry about it. They can have lower of it, but it wouldn't define their relationship. It's not easy answering a barrage of questions truthfully in front of each other, but they have to do it to keep the date authentic. Then the results come. Their love compatibility is 100%. Not to make her reaction obvious, Mizuhara initially ignored the test result. However, she reveals later that she hates in a way what grandmother Sayuri said before passing away, that there's no one more perfect fit for her than Kazuya, which the compatibility test just proves. So it was not about taking his chances from a silly fortune-telling, but he had already received the blessing of one far better than it long ago, from a family of Mizuhara herself. Realizing this, Kazuya's resolve is more complete than ever now. Before the date's supposed to wrap up, they are set to have dinner at a requested restaurant of Mizuhara. According to his friend Kuri as well, this is the dictating part of whether she really enjoys the day if she seeks more after it or not. Mizuhara ordered an alcohol, a good indicator for Kazuya, and then Mizuhara asked him a question. What are his plans after graduation? How long does he plan to do that? Far from the mood he's expecting to build up. Kazuya was taken aback for a moment. He was so focused on her that indeed he may have forgotten his own. And just when Kazuya is about to lose hope, Mizuhara makes it clear. She's aware that nothing goes according to plan. Wake up to reality. Just kidding. That she just wants to assure what would it be like if they finally are living with each other. Before they finish their meal, Mizuhara initiates herself what Kazuya is building up the courage to say all along. She wants to go to the beach after. Couples can be found everywhere kissing, a romantic staple to go to, and that you would be the unique one if you're just not in a romantic activity. This made it more challenging for Kazuya to tell it's not his motive at all. Mizuhara, on the other hand, couldn't be more not baffled at all. While Kazuya is busy breaking the ice and making the moment just less awkward, just so until she feels comfortable before the deep talk, Mizuhara cut to the chase. After 100 of chapters, she's finally ready to give her answer, the result of her research. First, she thanked him for all his hard work, for the date. Not really sitting right with Kazuya, as what follows appreciation is the word but. But Mizuhara only gives him more appreciation and gratitude, all the hardships they had overcome for the past 2 years. How she was able to get up because of him, all of this as she confirms one thing that was only strengthened by being together, that she's in love with him. But it's all the more reason for her to also reject him. She just cannot afford to jump into it yet. And then giving him 1,000 sorry in this legendary panel where she bows from disappointing him. Yeah, I also bet. However, Kazuya quickly deflects it. It's just life. The night just ended, and they parted ways.